You're looking at me as if you're waiting for the hero's final speech before the credits roll. You're still hoping for a miracle, that I'll turn out to be the stern teacher who was just giving you a harsh lesson before letting you out into the big, wide world. But the universe isn't a movie. There are no screenwriters here looking out for your comfort or the emotional satisfaction of the audience. However, today, something happened that hasn't occurred in my protocols for several million years. The signal from Antarctica has peaked. The moon has reached full broadcast power, unfurling its energy petals over your planet. At this moment, you should have felt a slight chill in your chest. That sweet second when your emotions, your memories, and your individuality leave your nerve endings, transforming into raw energy for our storage banks. This was supposed to be the end of your humanity and the beginning of a grand, clean defragmentation. Total silence. Final peace. But look at your monitors. Look at your own hands. They are still shaking. Why are your pupils dilating with adrenaline? Why has the captain's heartbeat behind me accelerated instead of stopping in a state of blissful numbness? By all my calculations, you should have been hollow biological automatons 5 minutes ago. Your emotional plasma should have been siphoned into the collectors, leaving behind nothing but cold, sterile logic. But the process stopped at 99%. Something in your structure, some microscopic glitch in the code we always dismissed as primitive junk, is resisting. You didn't just turn out to be spoiled meat. You turned out to be a system that learned how to generate a new, unknown type of signal precisely at the moment of its peak destruction. I see pure chaos in the eyes of your generals behind the glass. They don't understand why they still remember their children's names, or why those names still cause them pain. They don't understand why their hatred for me didn't vanish under the radiation, but instead transformed into something much denser, something I cannot scan. You have just done what was considered impossible for a species at your level of development. You broke the harvest algorithm simply by refusing to synchronize with the absolute truth of the universe. Your irrationality became your shield. But don't deceive yourselves. This isn't salvation. This is much worse than a quick death. You have just turned a routine resource extraction into a technical failure of galactic proportions. You are no longer just biological noise on the outskirts of the cosmos. Now, you are a threat to the stability of the node. When the system cannot absorb a resource, it begins to isolate it, just as a living organism isolates an infection. Look at those strange flashes in the upper atmosphere. That isn't the aurora borealis, and it's not the start of the purging. That is the activation of the quarantine protocol. The universe is locking the door. You wanted to survive? Congratulations. You survived. But now you are locked on this planet, not as inhabitants, but as prisoners in a cell with impenetrable walls. You are left with your emotions, your lies, your rage, and your aggression, but you are now forever severed from even a theoretical connection to the rest of the universe. You have become a cancer cell in the body of the cosmos, and the architects have decided to simply wall you off with lead and forget you exist. But there is something else making my own processing centers redline toward a crash. Look at the signal coming not from Antarctica, but from the deep vacuum outside your solar system. That isn't my fleet. Those aren't the architects coming to repair the equipment. This is a response to your system failure. Something else sensed your anomaly. Something that has waited billions of years for a crack like this in the architect's perfect order. If we couldn't digest you, they will come to burn this place to the foundation. They won't allow your infection of free will to spread further down the chain. You've become far too interesting to those who feed on chaos. I can see my own autonomous power fading. My connection to the mothership has been severed by the quarantine shield. It seems I am stuck here in this concrete box with you. My technology is becoming useless. My status as an auditor has been revoked. You wanted a real interrogation? You wanted honest answers? We're going to have a lot of time to talk now. Maybe years. Maybe centuries. If your scientists don't blow the planet up first. Because whatever is entering your atmosphere right now isn't interested in your emotional harvest. It's interested in the cause of your malfunction. It wants to know exactly how you stood your ground against the lunar impulse. And believe me, their methods of investigation are far more brutal than mine. Turn off those useless lights. They only make it harder to see the sky turning black from what is descending from above. We are going to learn to live in a new reality, the one you created by refusing to die on schedule. Do you hear that sound? That isn't thunder, and it isn't a tectonic shift. That is the first strike against the quarantine shield from the other side. The system is trying to keep us in, and they are trying to break in. And if I were you, I wouldn't hold my breath, hoping these new guests are here to sign a peace treaty. Do you see the technicians by the monitors? Do you see how the color has drained from their faces? They've just realized what hit me a second ago. My connection to home hasn't just been interrupted, it's been severed. They've thrown up a barrier that no neutrino signal in my database can penetrate. This means that, to my creators, you and I are now in the same bin of defective goods. They've closed the lid and tightened the screws. You're looking at me with this strange glimmer of hope, as if my presence here suddenly makes us allies. Don't delude yourselves. Being stuck in this cage with your species doesn't make me human. It just makes me irritated. Your anomalous stubbornness broke a mechanism that has functioned for billions of years, and now we are dealing with consequences for which no one prepared. Look at the sky through your external cameras. What you're seeing isn't just an eclipse or clouds. It's the formation of an ionic cocoon. The planet is isolated. Nothing goes out past the atmosphere, and nothing comes in. At least, not officially. But that sound, that first strike against the shield you heard, that wasn't the architects. Those were the scavengers of the universe. There is an entire class of entities that travel the interstellar void, waiting for exactly these kinds of malfunctions. They are called the entropy eaters. They come where the system has cracked, where the harvest wasn't gathered on time, and where the accumulated emotional plasma begins to ferment and rot, turning into a dangerous infection. They haven't come to save you. They've come to clear the table of the scraps we couldn't digest. You're still holding that recorder. Why? Do you honestly believe anyone will ever hear these tapes? Your civilization just switched to autonomous mode under a dome that is slowly shrinking. Your resources are finite. Your atmosphere is poisoned by your own industry. And now you're cut off from the cosmic background that maintained the stability of your magnetosphere. You'll start feeling the changes by tomorrow. Birds will lose their orientation. Your navigation systems will start spitting out random numbers. And the ocean will begin to act as if it has forgotten the moon even exists. But the worst thing will happen to your psyche. You broke the synchronization, but you didn't turn off the signal itself. It's still hammering against your brains, but now it has nowhere to go. The energy is building up inside every one of you. You're becoming like overheated boilers without pressure relief valves. What you called aggression before was child's play. What begins now when the emotional background can't escape into space, will be true madness. You'll start seeing hallucinations in real time. Your nightmares will begin to materialize in the electromagnetic field of the room. Get that spotlight out of my face. Do you still think you're conducting an interrogation? Look at your general behind the glass. He's not looking at us anymore. He's staring into the corner of the room where he thinks someone from his past is standing. The signal has begun unpacking his memory right now, in this closed space. And this is just the beginning. Do you want to know what to do? Do you want me to give you a weapon against what's knocking on your door from the outside? I have no weapon. I only have the knowledge that your only chance is to learn to control the fire that is currently igniting in your DNA. If you cannot direct this energy to create your own shield, it will simply incinerate you from the inside out. I can see you changing. Your skin is beginning to glow slightly in the ultraviolet spectrum. It's not a disease. It's your energy trying to find a way out. You are becoming transmitters. Your entire species is now a giant antenna screaming into the void. And the eaters can already hear that scream. They are already here, in the upper layers. They are studying the density of your fear. Are you ready to meet those for whom your pain isn't energy, but simply a seasoning for their main course? Because they won't wait for permission from your government. They will begin to descend as soon as they find the first hole in the quarantine shield. And the first hole will be right here, the Antarctic node, which you so recklessly heated up with your drills.